humans called it a peace summit. Lieutenant Jace Orion knew better. The ring station orbiting the violet gas giant looked less like neutral ground and more like a blade turned inward, a polished trap hanging in the void. For all its ceremonial banners and diplomatic protocols, Jace felt the same cold knot in his stomach he'd felt walking into a battlefield. Peace, he thought, was just another uniform leaders forced their soldiers to wear. He stood at attention on the glossy deck of Docking Arm 3, helmet clipped to his belt, dark navy tactical armor freshly polished. Across the widening airlock, honor banners of the Seraph Dominion shimmered like vertical rivers of silver-blue light. Their symbols shifted slowly, alive with faint bioluminescence. Somewhere behind that sealed hatch was the reason he'd been pulled off the front lines and dressed up like ceremonial furniture. Princess Lyra'thel of House Syra'th. The alien princess offered as a bond bride, a living treaty designed to stitch two wounded empires together. "Try not to stare when she walks in," Captain Daxon muttered beside him. "Apparently they can smell fear." Jace kept his eyes forward. "Then you'd better step back a meter, sir. Yours is fogging the air." Daxon snorted, but his expression reset as the docking officer announced, "Vessel Seraph Ascendant requesting airlock pressurization. Prepare to receive delegation." A soft hiss filled the corridor. Arc lights refracted through the spreading mist as the inner hatch irised open. The Seraph delegation glided in like animated sculpture. Tall, elegant figures wrapped in layered metallic robes that refracted light into shifting geometric patterns. Their obsidian-pale skin was marked with glowing lines that pulsed like calm heartbeats. Their eyes, too reflective, too deep, betrayed nothing. And then she appeared. Princess Lyra'thel moved with a kind of quiet command, every gesture controlled yet fluid, her skin a storm-gray shade dusted with starlight. Bioluminescent tracings curled along her neck and cheekbones, growing in rhythmic patterns. Her hair, if it was hair, was a cascade of fine shimmering filaments bound with silver rings. Upon her brow rested a crystalline circlet, the binding crown the media praised as a symbol of unity. Up close, it looked more like a command device someone had forgotten to hide. As Lyra stepped fully onto the human side of the dock, Admiral Kestrel slid forward with a smile polished smoother than the floor. "On behalf of the Terran Accord, we welcome you, Princess. Your presence is an honor and a promise of hope for both our peoples." Lyra's eyes asked over the assembled officers. They hovered on Jace for a single heartbeat. He felt scanned, evaluated, seen. When she spoke, her voice vibrated with a layered undertone like a chord played by two instruments in perfect synchrony. "The Dominion answers," she said. "We hope your words command more truth than your weapons have." Sharp tension cut the air before Kestrel smoothed it with diplomatic grace. Jace didn't flinch. He'd been briefed. The war had burned both sides nearly hollow. Whole colonies erased. Fleets turned to drifting carcasses. Negotiations now? Too convenient to trust. Jace's orders: serve as liaison, guard the princess, obey every command from Admiral Kestrel. And don't think too hard. He suspected he would fail the last part, almost immediately. After the formal greeting, Lyra was escorted to her temporary quarters, an opulent suite with a panoramic view of the raging violet storms below. Light panels shifted hues to mimic Seraph bioluminescence. Soft atmospheric regulators hummed faintly. "A gilded cage," she observed, stepping inside. Admiral Kestrel clasped his hands behind his back. Security measures only. There are agitators on both sides who dislike this union. Until the ceremony, your safety is paramount. Jace's wrist comm buzzed with a secure message. He scanned it. New directive, Lieutenant Orion. If station security is compromised and you cannot guarantee the Princess remains under Accord control, you are authorized to neutralize the asset. Neutralize the asset. His stomach tightened. Lyra stood in the center of the room, studying the faint hum of energy fields lining the walls. So, this is where I will wait until they bind me. Kestrel gave a diplomatic nod and left with 2 aides. The door sealed behind them. Lyra looked at Jace, her luminous markings dimming. You are my Gowler. Your liaison, he corrected, and your security. Security, she repeated softly. A word humans enjoy when they mean captivity. Jace frowned. No one said anything about captivity. Then your briefings are incomplete. She stepped closer. Jace felt the temperature shift. Sereth physiology radiated a cool, almost metallic aura. The binding crown, she said, touching it lightly, is not merely ceremonial. During the union, your engineers and my council's technicians will activate its neural lattice interface. Jace's pulse climbed. Meaning, she said, I will become incapable of disobeying Joint Accord Dominion commands. My mind will no longer be wholly my own. Control. Command. Obedience. I swallowed hard. That's not in any treaty summary I've seen. Lyra's markings flared once, like the flare of a dying star. Then your leaders have lied. Before Jace could answer, the station shuddered violently. Lights flickered. Sirens erupted. Alert! Hull breach, Section Epsilon 4. Unauthorized boarding action detected. Jace spun toward the door. His comm crackled. Orion, Captain Daxon shouted. Get to the Princess. Don't let the extremists capture her. Use any force necessary. Jace sprinted. He didn't expect the first threat to be human. A squad of armored Marines blocked the corridor. Faces hidden by mirrored visors, insignias covered by magnetic plates. Special security, their leader barked. We'll secure the Princess from here. Stand down. Show me the orders, Jace demanded. The Marine lifted his wrist mod. Jace saw the mission name for a half heartbeat. Operation Clean Cut. Objective, terminate asset. Frame Sereth extremists. His blood ran cold. The Marine saw him react. He reached for his rifle. Jace moved first. A strike, a shove, a roll under their formation. Shots cracked off the bulkhead behind him as he dove into a maintenance access and sealed the hatch. He ran toward Lyra's quarters, toward the target his own people planned to kill. The door slid open. Chaos. One Marine lay broken near the wall, armor scorched. Another fired wildly, as Lyra stood encased in a shimmering defensive field, her markings white-hot, the binding crown blazing like lightning made into metal. The Marine pivoted toward Jace. 3 shots from Jace's pistol dropped him instantly. The air smelled of burnt ozone. Lyra lowered the field. Her voice shook with layered echoes. Your Admiral did this. Yes. They were ordered to kill you and blame it on the borders. Lyra stared at him. And you? My orders were to neutralize you if you slipped past Accord control. But I'm done being their weapon. He held out his hand. Come with me if you want your mind to stay yours. For a moment she simply looked at him, slow, evaluating. Then she took his hand. Very well, Jace Orion, she said softly. Let us escape our empires together. They raced through the station's maintenance bones, narrow tunnels humming with cable heat. Jace moved by instinct and schematic memory. Lyra moved by sensing power currents he couldn't feel. The extremists are real, but both our governments knew they were coming. They intended to let them kill me. Convenient martyr, Jace muttered. Convenient obedience,
Lyra corrected. They reached a junction. Jace hacked a panel. Where are we going? She asked. Comms relay. If we can reach the deep archive and broadcast arrays, we can show everyone what they planned. Lyra's markings brightened. Weaponizing truth. That is, unexpectedly human. Jace smirked. We take what we can get. The comms node was guarded by 2 special security squads. Jace cursed. We can't fight through that. Lyra stepped forward before he could stop her. Humans of the Accord, lay down your weapons. They raised their rifles. Jace rolled out firing. Then the lights died. Lyra glowed. Her markings flared to blinding white. The binding crown burned like a star. The Marines screamed as their systems glitched, visors dead, weapons stuttering. Neurolattice interference, Lyra murmured. Your systems talk too closely to your nervous pathways. Jace used the moment to disable them non-lethally. He stared at her. You could have killed them. I could have, but then I would become the weapon they designed me to be. Jace grinned. Welcome to HFY. Inside the relay, Jace unlocked encrypted files. He wished he hadn't. Prometheus Bride, subject Lyra'thel. Full neural control protocol. Identity erasure in case of resistance. Jace felt sick. They weren't just going to bind you, they were going to erase you and use you as a living key to command your fleet. Lyra went completely still. Her markings dimmed to a ghostly pale. In my culture, to destroy a mind is the greatest evil. They call it soul death. Both our governments signed off on this, Jace said bitterly. They just didn't want the blood on their hands. Lyra's eyes hardened. Then let us stain them with truth. They hijacked the broadcast arrays. Human screens froze. Seraph spires glitched. Across 2 empires, forbidden documents appeared. Neural control diagrams, erased messages, forced wedding protocols. Transmission at 90%, Jace said. That was when Admiral Kestrel arrived. The comms door exploded inward. The blast slammed Jace into the console. Kestrel stormed in with guards. Stand down, Lieutenant. Humanity needs this. Humanity doesn't need mind slavery or genocide wrapped in treaties. Kestrel's voice dropped to ice. We were saving ourselves. Everyone else is optional. He fired. Jace moved without thinking. The shot hammered his chest, armor flaring. He fell back into Lyra. Kestrel aimed again, at her. This ends now. Lyra rose slowly. You assumed humans were the only ones who could change. She lifted her hands. A shockwave blasted outward, precise, controlled, non-lethal. Kestrel hit the deck, armor smoking. The broadcast reached 100%. Across the stars, the truth screamed awake. Lyra knelt beside Jace. You took a shot meant for me. Humans, he wheezed, very stubborn. She laughed, tears in her eyes. So I see.
Outside the relay, the station reorganized itself. Human counselors demanded Kestrel's arrest. Seraph commanders denounced their own corrupt leaders. The war wasn't over, but something far worse had been stopped. For the first time, Lyra said, they all hear the same truth. Medics arrived, sealing wounds with biofoam. Lyra refused to leave Jace's side. "You will have space to operate," she told the doctors, "but I remain. He kept my mind whole. I owe him that much." As consciousness faded, Jace whispered, "If they ask why you helped me, tell them—" "I will tell them the truth," she said firmly, "that a human soldier chose my freedom over his orders." Darkness claimed him. Jace awoke in soft blue light. Lyra stood beside him, binding crown gone. "You're awake," she said. "Good. Where?" "A tribunal vessel. Neutral ground. Again." A human counselor and Seraph mediator approached. "Lieutenant Jace Orion, you are stripped of frontline command." Expected. "However," the mediator added, "you are appointed liaison to the Joint Truth Commission." Lyra said softly, "If we are to walk through fire, choose someone who has already burned for the right reasons." Jace smiled weakly. "Guess I'm not out of the war." "No," she said, "but now we fight for truth." Later, they stood at the viewport. "So," Jace said, "no forced marriage, no mind control crown, no living key?" "Correct," Lyra said. "Peace built on chains is not peace." "What do you want, Lyra?" "I want a future where my choices are mine, and I want to see if humans can be as noble as they claim in their stories." "Risky," Jace said. "Then let us risk it together." They returned to the projection table. Jace lifted a slate. "Lyra, humans have a story type we call HFY. Humanity finding a way to be worth the trouble we cause." Lyra's markings warmed. "Then let us ensure," she said, "that this is one of those stories."